Hajime! Τεχνικές αυτοθυσίας. Συνεντεύξεις με γονείς ατόμων με νευροναπτυξιακές διαταραχές. Για να ακούτε όλα τα επεισόδια, ακολουθήστε τις τεχνικές αυτοθυσίας στο Spotify, τα Apple Podcasts, το YouTube και το site technikes-αυτοθυσίας.com. Hello, Ματτίας. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to speak to my podcast. Would you like to tell us a few things about your family?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me here.
No problem.
It's a pleasure. I'm living in Germany, close to Cologne, with a family. We are 5 in total and 2 cats. So I'm 45-year-old as my wife. And my firstborn, she's 15 and a half. The secondborn is 12. And Tάμmo, which is probably the subject of most interest in our podcast today, is turning 3 in September.
Okay, so we will be talking about your youngest. And what is his condition?
He has the Down syndrome.
Okay. Could you tell us a few things about the history of that? How you found out?
So we gave birth to, or my wife gave birth to the first 2 kids at home.
Is this a common thing?
No, not common. No, it's not common. Hospital is the common way,
okay.
But there are also a few people choosing that, not being disturbed in the whole birth process, which is, home is a safe space. But since Mareike was 42, by the time we found out she's pregnant, the midwife said, at home only if you do a special ultrasonic screening, because she wants to be safe that, everything is in a good condition. And since we never did any screening before, because we never thought about screening our babies, but that was just okay condition. And so we went for the screening, and then we found out, there is an anomaly, and then they found out, it's the Down syndrome.
So which month of pregnancy was that?
Yeah, we found out in the 5th month of the pregnancy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you didn't do screenings in any of your kids before, like ultrasounds and?
Yeah, the very basic ultrasound you needed in the beginning, yes, but we never did any of the screenings of the water of the, fertile water, whatever it's called in English, or any blood from the fetus. So we are not friends of this kind of screenings.
Okay. So afterwards, how did that strike you when you found out?
Yeah, of course, it was first of all a shock. Getting Tάμmo in the first place was a shock. It was not expected and planned, so to say. And then I accommodated with the idea of becoming father again. Because, my small boy was 9 by the time, and it freed up again, just time for our relationship, time for going on holidays on our own, kids being at the grandparents, and then knowing, we have to start off by 0 again. And then I found my peace, and then the message kicked in, this will take much longer, and it will be a different journey. And who knows if there will ever be that just the 2 of us again, me and my wife. So it was first of all a big shock, which could not. You cannot think it. Your mind is just creating drama. And there was first freak out, but then it took me not long. I can talk about it in more detail. A very good experience, which granted me a lot of peace of mind.
So something happened that gave you peace of mind, you mean?
Yeah, I called a very close friend of mine, and I was just, desperate and crying. And she said, you know what? I have I practice meditation. And she was going to a retreat with a special teacher. And she said, I'm going to retreat actually next week. And if you want and have time, you can have my seat. And it was a 1-week silent retreat with a special practice. And So I don't know, it took maybe 2 days. And the whole drama, that projection of future, how is this going to be? And, and me and my wishes and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It just all stopped. And I found back to a lot of, confidence that this will unfold in a way beautifully for all of our lives. And I could not actually reason it, because how can you know? That's just another version of future. But the drama did not come back at any time since then, basically.
That's good. That's good. It's like turning a switch in some way.
Yes.
Something just switched inside your head or emotionally, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I don't know, did your wife have a similar response?
For her, she did not go for the retreat. And for her, it took longer. And she was... there was a fear of maybe not being able to love the child the same way she does the other two. And she knew that's crazy, it will be different, but still there was this kind of a fear. Now it sounds ridiculous, but by that time it just was a fear, and she was aware it's an irrational fear, but at the same time it was an existing fear.
So you went to that retreat before the birth? Well, when you found out, okay, because afterwards, I doubt you would have the time to do that.
Exactly. Honey, I'm off for a week.
I was jealous for a moment there. Okay, so now your son is about 3.5, you said.
He's 2.5 or 2 years and 9 months.
Oh, 2.5, sorry. Yeah. What kind of care does he need on a daily basis?
I think, what is interesting is, to me, in Germany, I don't know, we don't say anymore like handicapped people or whatsoever. It's called like people with special needs.
It's not like disabilities. Well, handicap is not used anyway, but...
but also, we have disabilities, but when people try to talk politically correct, they say people with special needs.
Oh, really? Because this is the opposite in Greece. So disability, I mean, in English as well, I know that the word is disability. But when we say in Greek, people of special needs, that's an old term that is not used anymore. And actually disabled people hate it. They don't like it because it puts the responsibility on them, that you are the different ones, and the society just needs to bend over backwards to accommodate you. You are the ones who have the needs, So disability is more, it means basically that these people are obstructed by the society. Because society doesn't have the proper, at least in Greece, doesn't have a proper pavements or proper accessibility facilities.
Interesting. I've never thought about it that way. So what I like about the special need thing is just, having already 2 other children, they all have their special needs. The one is not sleeping well, the other one is not eating well, the other one is sick all the time, whatsoever, It's like every human is different and special. And for Tάμmο, I think it was phases. The first few months been very hard because with the Down syndrome, they have very little muscle tension. And for them, it's even difficult to swallow in the beginning. So he could not be breastfeeded. And my wife was fighting for the breastfeeding because it helps them a lot later on to build up the muscles they need to start to talk. And so she organized herself because the doctors wanted to give up. It's like, we just feed him with no. So it was a mixture of breastfeeding and feeding him with
bottle.
Yeah, not bottle, like injections. You have to put it really,
like syringe
into his mouth.
Syringe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there was this kind of tools. But then he got a lot of infections. So he had to take a long time antibiotics. So that was the first year, which was kind of, and then there was, is there maybe a blood disease, blood cancer, whatsoever, there was some serious.
But who has, what do you mean? There's a danger of?
Yeah, there's a heightened danger of blood cancer for kids with Down syndrome.
Ah, okay, I didn't know that.
And so they checked the blood and it was not okay, and they didn't know why. And this whole thing of going to the special hospitals, seeing the special doctors. So there was a lot of, because you asked about taking care, it was a lot of seeing doctors to check on stuff, right?
Okay.
But at the end, it turned out well, right? He found stability. He started to drink. The blood got so far okay. The infections went down. Nobody knows why. And he's now 2.5, and I would say he's 1.5. So what do you count? Biological age or age compared to a neurotypical person when it comes to development? So so he just needs more daily support than the age would suggest, or as we know it from the other two, his siblings. And of course there are therapies happening, every week to support his movements, to support his language development.
Does he walk now?
Yeah, he can walk.
Okay.
Yeah. He walks around, he can climb. The intellect and the language capabilities, he's not talking. He's just making a few sounds.
Yeah.
Basically 2 sounds. But he starts to communicate in sign language.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so that's what we try to use. And he's now starting to adopt it, and...
Is that his own language, his own sign language, or some system that he's been taught?
The system we teach him, or I would say my wife is teaching him, because she spends most of the time at home. And I try, but for me, I find my own signs. Yeah.
Okay.
And but he understands a lot, so you can talk quite complex to him,
and he gets it. Yeah,
he gets it. He said, "Why don't you go to the bathroom and pick up your pajama?" And he will go and search and come back and bring it to you. So, yeah. And what else in terms of care? Eating takes a lot of time still. So he's very picky.
Has the swallowing improved?
So the doctors told us the whole digestion is just more, because everything is built upon muscles, we don't think about it, but also digestion is muscles contracting and so on. And it just is more strenuous to them. So eating in that age time is typical. They don't eat that much, seems to be. Later on, it's difficult for them to stop eating. It's the other way around for many. But I would say it takes 30 minutes to 1 hour each meal.
Oh, really? Oh,
breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay. And what is the most difficult part in the everyday life with him and his care? At least in this age. I mean, don't project into the future. Just
so it's now getting a bit better, but he has a very strong will, so he knows what he wants, but he could not express himself accordingly. So, and that's kind of communication when he's sitting there and like, pointing at something in the room, and he's just, waving his arm, and he's getting furious because you don't understand what he needs. And then just to stay calm and present different stuff and try to help him. And, that's the one that is the most, was the most stressful to me.
So it's a communication thing. So I suppose knowing what you want and having people who don't understand you can be really frustrating. I mean, it can be, but well, I understand that you are improving in this. Not just you. I mean, the whole family learns to communicate more and more.
Yes, definitely. And we have a big gift. My father-in-law, he's living just, a few houses down the road. And he has retired. He has a lot of time. He loves kids, and he's super supportive. And he's, he can sit there for ages, it feels like, and being patient and, trying to understand and helping him. So that's, also I think in terms of helping Tάμμο to develop the way he does, he's playing a crucial role because he gets so much attention. None of our kids got before. It's like a super nanny.
He sounds like an angel, yeah. How about the brother and sister?
It was funny when we told them, first of all, that they get a brother. Nosha, which is my daughter, the 15-year-old, said, "Why don't we just get a dog?" Right? It's too late for a brother. She always wanted a brother, another one, or a sister. And she said, no, now it's too late. I want a dog. And she was super pissed. And really at the beginning could not relate to him. She was really like, oh, no, it's ugly. And
because of the age gap, or also the syndrome played a role in that?
I think the syndrome didn't play a big role. It was more the whole thing of why having a baby and now you have to split your attention by 3, not by 2. But that was just a few months, and we did not push her at all. We thought, okay, this will settle. We were just, okay, that's okay to feel that way, because that's also part of the reality. He needs a lot of attention. He's a baby per se, they need a lot of attention, and with a disability he has even more. And now they both love her brother, or their brother, and they also engage with him. Sometimes we just all hang around in the family space and it's relaxed. Sometimes one of them just plays with him, but that's more on our demand. They do it, short, but they don't engage long with him unless we ask them. But they take him to bed as well. So that also works now.
Is he a good sleeper, or he has...
Once he sleeps, yes.
But until
it can take time. And he does not fall asleep alone. You have to be next to him.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. Yeah, but in general, they also defend him, when they, in Germany, they sometimes they say to each other, Mongo, which means, and actually that refers to being dumb and, special and, not a person of grace, which is coming from the Down syndrome, from Mongoloism.
Yeah, it used to be a term sometime back, I think, but we have our own expressions in Greek, but that is also one of the expressions. I don't know if people actually say it now. Of course, they don't say it in scientific context, but in terms of insulting people, I would think they do.
And the youth does. Just, you're Mongo. And if my daughter hears that, she will interfere.
Okay.
She's, and they won't do it again in her presence, at least.
Does she interfere with being a sister of a kid with Down syndrome, or does she stay out of the role of the sister and just explain that this is wrong? Does she use it as an argument, like, hey, my brother, has Down syndrome, don't say that?
No, it's not like that way. She said, you don't have a clue and then it's more on that's not right what you're saying, and most people don't know that Tάμmο has the Down syndrome.
Okay.
So also in school, probably many of her classmates whatsoever won't know that Tάμmo has the Down. It's nothing we put on a flag.
Yeah, but she's quite old now. I mean, in terms of school, she's I don't know how classes go in Germany. I think there's a different system, but 15 years old is not that close. So yeah, I understand that many classmates will
haven't seen her brother probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's ask. I want to ask you now. You two parents, do you have any time at all with 3 kids? One of them disabled. How is that working out? You said you have your father-in-law helping occasionally.
But I'm an entrepreneur. I have to work sometimes a lot. My wife is also entrepreneur. She downsized her business because it was not that profitable. So it was me going back to the role of. So there is all the work context and having 3 kids. Mm-hmm. So time is very little, and once you have time, you're quite exhausted.
Yeah.
So, but that's something I learned to accept, that being, that's being part of being a father, basically, and it will pass. So when Tάμmo was coming, or it's clear we have another child, I suspended all the ideas for a few years. That just keeps me going, basically, because that's how the reality is, and there's not much I can do about it. I can fight it, and I will be, angry and upset, or I can just surrender and and try to celebrate the little moments we do have, But if I could choose, I would want to have more.
More time.
More time, yeah, with my wife, of course.
But do you get any time of your own? Like, do you go to the gym, for example? Do you have a hobby? How do you unwind?
Yeah, I have strong sports routine I developed again. So I neglected it for the first time because it was just no space. But I do sports in my office. I have a rowing machine, for example. That helps me a lot. We live in the countryside, so I go for sometimes I manage to do it every morning before work. Before I get to the computer, just walk half hour and be in nature. I go to the gym, and that's all the me time, which I have to combine with learning. So in the meantime, I listen to work podcasts and so on and so forth. So I have a bit to squeeze other time qualities out of that. Yeah, but still, that helps me a lot. And I have a few friends that I have kind of very regular scheduled meetings. So there's one friend I meet once a week usually, or every 2 weeks for an evening.
That's for a coffee, for example, like for leisure. Yeah.
Just leisure time. So it's down to a minimum, but I am very strict on that minimum to keep it up.
Mm-hmm. And does your wife have a similar routine?
Yeah, she's also teaching yoga, so she's doing the sports while teaching.
Okay.
and she's a dancer as well, and she's DJing and having kind of open dance. So that's when she can dance. So she combines these things.
There are a lot of arts. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that her company? Her entrepreneurship has to do with one of these things, or
coaching, like personal coaching, yoga, and dance.
Okay.
These 3 kind of pillars. So that gives her energy, which is good. And we have very, very close friends around us. So she has friends. Sometimes it's overlapping and we meet. And that's, just, and she has kind of built up a very strong, we call it like circles of people you meet with a certain intention in a certain rhythm. For example, she meets every 4 weeks, she meets with a group of ladies. And that's just set. It's fixed. I know there is no way I can schedule anything in at that time.
So that's for for a dinner out or for?
No, they usually go for sharing. We call it. It's like you sit and you really share how you feel.
Okay.
And relate. And there's sometimes those fun elements in, but basically it's not. I don't know. That's more my type. Getting somewhere and maybe having 1 or 2 or maybe 1 beer too much. But it's a lot about really letting other people know how you feel, and just by listening, also receiving kind of emotional support.
Do you guys do therapy, or is that, because that sounds a bit like therapy, and maybe that's your therapy?
We did therapy in the past, and for us it feels like, not like therapy, but it has that element of gaining clarity for yourself, getting just support by people really listening from the heart, and feeling community. This has that social fabric, I would say. To acknowledge that and to cultivate it is important to both of us.
Okay. Now, do you want to describe to me the dark moments, feelings and emotions that are overwhelming? You already mentioned the very first moments of despair and drama. Do you get these again and again, or
last weekend?
Okay, you want to tell me more?
Yeah, it's actually only, it really sucks when you go for an event of friends, and all their kids are older already, and you are one of us is tucked to Tάμmo somehow, right? And that's not actually around his disability. It's just because he's so small.
Is he with you, or stays home?
He will be with you, or he doesn't want to be with you. He wants to explore the space, but he will just throw down.
So you have to follow him around. Yes, yeah.
But that's just because he's a baby, right?
Yeah.
But then it really, really, I'm really fucked up. I rather say I will stay home with him
than go
and go somewhere and have the feeling I miss everything because I cannot engage in a deep conversation. I cannot engage in a workshop. I'm somewhere in a beautiful place with people I really like, but I cannot really engage because I'm fully focused on Tάμmo. And then it sucks, but basically it's not attached to the disability. But when another layer of thinking kicks in, which is like, oh, fuck, this will just be longer than I'm used to, right? That taking care and being in, having a lot of responsibility for him in situations because he cannot oversee the situation. He will learn slow, what is risk, what not. And that this is to continue for far longer than it did with the other two. That sucks.
So that's the thought that really makes you kind of sink.
But I would say that's the only one that is really, and I'm curious how will now he's in a very protected space. Because he's not yet in the kindergarten, and all our friends are super supportive, of course. But I don't know how society will react on him when he's getting older, because kids are cruel by definition. So I just wonder, because he will now go to the kindergarten, and we decided not to go for a special needs kindergarten, but the kindergarten our second born went to, and that's more like not creating a dark moment, but raising this concern, is society ready for him?
Okay.
Right? Because he's such a beautiful person, but if you put on all the standard scales, he fails, and 9 out of 10 babies with Down syndrome get now aborted in Germany, or basically worldwide, where there's do screenings. So from being something common in, I knew people with Down syndrome in my village, and everybody somehow knew, but it's disappearing. Since we have the screenings, it just disappears. So, that's just concerns me, but it's not personal. It's not like, oh, poor me or whatsoever,
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
No.
I'm thinking, because all the families I've spoken to here from Greece, this question always comes with when I ask this question, there's always, whatever the answer, there's always the answer that comes with it, which is what happens after we die. That's what that's what everybody's concerned, at least in my country. So what happens in Germany? Is there a state? Is there a care by the state? Are they nice places that somebody can take the care after their parents die? That you feel safe about?
Yeah, it's somehow so far away. So I think, first of all, there will be left a responsibility with the siblings, right?
In what sense, though? In what
sense?
Yeah.
I think, my wishes, but you can, of course, not oppose it in any way. But I think that's something we will have as a vision for our family, that when we, grow old, that at a certain point, we will figure out together how that caretaking can happen once we have passed. So I think that's one. And there are good places and there are bad places.
Okay.
Right? And it will depend very much about his capabilities, I would say. And it's interesting because probably Tάμmο will be kind of an edge case, because it seems to be he's in the very upper spectrum of Down syndrome.
In terms of functionality and intellect.
Exactly. So it might be that he can even do simple work in the first job market, but cannot live on his own. Or maybe he can even live on his own, but it needs just a little support. So there are different ways of supporting these people. It's simpler if your capabilities are quite low, then they will put you in a home and they take care of you 24/7, and they give you very simple tasks just to keep you somehow busy.
Is this a soothing thought? Because in Greece, that's an alarming thought, actually, because it again is the question of what this home will be. There are parents who actually know they have to organize their own homes, like 2 or 3 parents from different families, like finding an apartment where they actually have to get permission to use it as a small home for 3 children, for example. But this relies a lot on the person, on the responsibility of the individual, and not so much on state help.
Here it's state help.
So that's good to hear.
No, there is state help. You always have to chase it somehow. It's not coming. I would wish it would come more naturally of its own, and you don't have to fight for everything. But there is.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, and in Germany, it would rather be getting a permission to, because we over-regulate everything. I cannot imagine you would get a permission to do it yourself, having a flat, and they would oppose so many regulations on you.
No, that happens here too. It's not an easy thing. Yeah. Do you have any stories that he's pretty little, he's pretty young, but did you have any stories that you can share about people out there either accepting him or somehow being surprised or negative about him towards him?
So I would say there was just one negative experience I can recall, or my wife told me, that's why I can recall it, which was another child in the kindergarten saying, don't play with the dumb ass, basically, it's just, you won't get it, he's too slow.
How old was that child?
Like
5?
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was just, not with him, he should not. And but I would say with Tάμmo, it's basically the other way around, that there is a lot of positive projection. They are so sunshine, and they're living in their heart, and they are spreading so much warmth and heart feelings.
Well, that's probably coming from adults, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kids, usually they don't make, like his age group usually does not make any difference. The older ones, like if they are 6, 7, or 8, they don't care if Tάμmο is at the age of 3 or 1.5.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's true.
They don't. And in the kindergarten, they told us they're also not afraid. It takes time in the beginning for kids to understand in which ways is he different. But then they say in their experience, it doesn't play a big role.
Okay. And about this approach that, these are little angels and they bring warmth and joy or whatever you said. Do you share that opinion, or how do you see this?
He does. He's a little angel, and he's so much smiling, and he has so much fun, and he's so open and friendly and approaching people, and he's so cute. He's opening hearts, definitely, right? It's more just thinking of, if he's getting older, will that get a burden? Is it okay if he feels nasty, if he's doing, crazy stuff, if he's losing that,
like childish,
that childish bonus, I would say.
Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah.
And people have that stereotype, they say, these people with Down syndrome, and also people working in the sector of disabilities, they tell you, honestly, the kids with Down syndrome, the ones I have to take care of are my favorite ones. And, there's a lot of stereotype being around. And of course, if he develops to be that person, I'm so happy for him, right? But I wish him to develop his inner personality, and people, and whatever it is, people will still respect and love him.
Yeah, he doesn't need to mask, or he doesn't need to play nice just to be accepted.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would you like other people to know about your kid?
For me, it's interesting, how he impacted our family, because, by the time Tάμmo came, Nosha was 12, Bela was 9. And let's say the family started not to erode, that's the wrong word, but, there was a lot of sleeping at a friend's place, having a lot of hobbies, schools getting more demanding, more hours in school. And there was just, less, and you could see less and less time, the core family just being together. Because everybody was somehow busy, the kids getting more busy with their lives and more being independent. And, Tάμmo is kind of a gravity center for the family in a positive way, because he just creates so many moments of togetherness that are not like, let's have a family evening, It's just happening. And there's a big beauty in it. I really, that's one thing. And I don't know, to me, it's really, I would say I don't see Tάμmo being disabled. He's my kid, I love him, and I reach out to him as I did to the other two. So of course I'm not reading that type of books now that I read maybe before, but I am who I am, and we relate, and it's beautiful. So I push his boundaries as I did with the other two, and and yeah, I think that's another thing. And maybe the last one, I found out that without knowing, I had projections or ideas about my kids. Like, okay, my wife studied, I studied, we are both maybe smart, kids will be as well, right? So there was kind of an expectation for how they will unfold, without me having that top on my mind, right? It was just very subconscious, but I think it was still there. And with Tάμmo, just giving up all ideas about, time and development, and just to get where he is now, that's for me somehow relaxing. You could say that's a challenge, but it feels actually more relaxing, because there is no idea by when he should have started talking, by when he should have started walking,
Yeah.
And it was never a big thing with the other two. But of course there was that kind of, will he start to walk soon? Probably, yes. Oh, he's still not walking? And that's all off the plate, right? He's just Tάμmo. And he surprises us a lot. And there is more, what's the English word? The opposite of guilt.
But you don't mean innocence, of course. You mean...
Yes. Yeah, but like innocence, not in the sense of guilt, but there is more innocence or nakedness or just life, right? Just enjoying life together without that kind of, there is a journey that needs to get us somewhere.
Yeah, because we do have, let's say, maps ingrained in our brains about how you're supposed to do this, how you're supposed to, what you're going to study something, and then you're going to find work, and indeed the kids, like my kid or your kid, they blow this up. They just make it explode, and it just goes off the grid, and then you think, okay, so I'll just take it as it comes, and whatever happens. I mean, the trap with that is if you become. If you go all the way to the other side and don't expect anything from your child and don't expect any progress, and then you're keeping the child behind if you don't invest at all. But you certainly get out of the overloaded pattern of, I don't know, different people have and different manners.
The doctor at the hospital, he took time before we went home, and he said, you cannot pull on the grass for it to grow faster, and you are already parents. And he said, trust yourself that when you feel Tάμmo needs professional support, you will organize it. But don't think you need to organize all possible support for him to develop better. He said he will have his limits and he will have his potential.
Yeah.
And, trust that if little stuff you should always do, also to have professionals sometimes see things you might don't see. But there is no value in like pushing him.
Yeah.
But for me, it's, maybe people say I'm assertive. As a leader, I'm very assertive. And I'm also assertive with my kids, but without having a clear expectation of you need to reach this.
What they should do, what
they should do or should reach. But I'm definitely assertive.
This is a difficult balance anyway with children to get them inspired, to get them find what they want and not oppose what you want. Is there anything else you want to add? Because we're very close to closing this. I mean, if there's anything else you want to let out there.
What was interesting to me is that I had one client, and I knew from the video calls that their child must have Down syndrome as well, because it was sometimes hijacking the calls.
Oh, so he was coming in the
in the video call and saying, "Mommy or Daddy," And so once I found out, I opened up to them and said, can I share something beyond our professional relationship? And it's private. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
And I said, we are expecting a child with Down syndrome. And they were like, wow, that's so beautiful. And she comes from Brazil.
Mm.
And she told me that, in Brazil, in our culture, kids with Down syndrome, if you get to have a child with Down syndrome, everybody will be happy for you. It's the other way around. Nobody will ever think that's a burden, or, they will be happy for you. Honestly happy.
This is so
And that's
so
such
different.
a, different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they say they bring so much joy and also teach us so much about what is really important in life, not the bullshit.
Yeah.
The important things. They are good teachers, so you are blessed. And I think having that living example that a whole culture can see something we might call a disability as a gift, just tells so much about how powerful our mind and concepts are. And then if we start to step back and see these kind of its concepts and see the human being beyond it, there is so much beauty and so much we can relate to. It just starts to dissolve that label, right? So that's something. And for me, maybe also like reaching out to all the other parents having children with disabilities. There's one thing I feel is like, if your child is autistic, you might not see it, right? Or you have to fight to get it diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to fight in schools because he's just behaving differently. So, but with Down syndrome, you have genetic testing. You can see it from the appearance. People know it somehow. So I think, wow, that's somehow making things far more easy for us, having a kid with special needs or a disability, than sometimes where it's not clear. And I wish just a lot of, just reaching out to these parents, and I can feel it, how it must be if people look at you, because they might think you're a bad parent. You cannot control your kid or what, and just that's it. I think that must be a totally different story relating to the outside world when it's not clear.
Yeah, that's true.
From the first
that's
glance.
True. Yeah, some invisible disabilities, and like I had a parent with his kid had HD.
AHS.
What?
ADHS probably.
ADHD, isn't it? Disorder, like.
Disorder. Yes.
ADHD. Yes, and that was the whole discussion. Most of the discussion went like how the kid was thought to be just without discipline and badly behaved at school, and everybody was and he was struggling with that a lot. Mattias, thank you so much for joining the podcast and telling us about your family and your experiences.
Thank you.
I wish you
all
the best
to
your family. Thank you so much.
Για να ακούτε όλα τα επεισόδια, ακολουθήστε τις τεχνικές αυτοθυσίας στο Spotify, τα Apple Podcasts, το YouTube και το site technikes-αυτοθυσίας.com.
Μάτε!
Παραγωγή μοντάζ Γιάννης Γεωργίου. Επεξεργασία ήχου Γιώργος Βαραμπούτης.